Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and be the first to know when we drop a new video. Like and share with your fellow American patriots who love this country. And if you haven't even an American patriot, you're someone who believe and love freedom, love democracy, truth, and don't like corruption, hit the subscription button.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine that Imagine if I had pulled Fox News' credentials from the White House press corps. You're laughing, but no, this is what's happening. Imagine if I had said to law firms that were representing parties that were upset with policies my administration had initiated, that you will not be allowed into government buildings. We will punish you economically for dissenting from the Affordable Care Act or the Iran deal. We will ferret out students who protest against my policies. It's unimaginable that the same parties that are silent now would have tolerated behavior like that from me, or a whole bunch of my predecessors. So, and I say this not on a partisan basis. This has to do with something more precious, which is, who are we as a country and what values do we stand for? Imagine if
Barack Obama could go down in history as one of the greatest presidents if he hadn't come in with this LGBTQ plus agenda, telling us that men can become women and women can become men, but white people cannot become black. So let that make sense. They say that if a white woman say that she's black, she's a liar. But when a man say he's a woman, he's not lying. Although, when it comes on to science and the laws of nature, these people, they have no problem in, because they behave like they're gods. And what most people don't understand, where we're at right now in America. And it all started by Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the one that started all of this madness, start oppress people using economic terrorism against them. If you once you have any form of dissension against him and him gay agenda, that's why most of the people them vote for Donald Trump, because what they were doing in indoctrinating your children. If you know indoctrinating your children at school, you understand, imposing it, social engineering. And that's how we get to Donald Trump. That's why Donald Trump win again overwhelming. Kamala Harris could have given American people the world, because Joe Biden, even come in to put when it comes on to in the passport, you have one male and female. They want to come in with all kind of things, this madness. So that's why you have a Donald Trump. But if Barack Obama had done 1/4 of what Trump did, he'd be in prison. But let's not pretend Obama's hands are clean either. Let's stop pretending. If Barack Obama had done 1/4 of what Donald Trump had done, brazenly tried to overturn an election, incite an election, stolen classified documents, weaponize DOJ against his political opponents, or use economic terrorism to silence dissenting attorneys, he would have been impeached, convicted, and rotting in prison faster than you could say hope and change. You have to just understand that, because this is white supremacy operates. But while many rightly condemn Trump for his blatant disregard for democracy, Barack Obama is not above reproach, especially when it comes to betrayal of black Americans and people of faith. Let's go back to a case. that most media outlets buried. A black man who worked at Homeland Security, a man with integrity and a backbone, was fired at the base of Sarah Palin because he didn't align himself with Obama's aggressive push to normalize behavior he personally and religiously opposed. This was a guy who was on YouTube, him name Irritated Genie, them that take away all him channel. Just because the man I say the rectum is not, he said that the rectum is not a sex organ and all kind of things. And he doesn't believe in black people dating outside of the race. I'm totally against that because it's not. Is who you love. You're free to love whoever you want to love. If you understand what I'm saying. So just simple as that. But the thing is that now, when you ever tell people say nothing, it's normal for two men to have sex and nothing is wrong with it. Remember that the rectum is a part of the digestive system, and that is the thing about that. Educate and tell people that the rectum excrete waste product from the body that the body refuses, and out of it come all kind of germs and disease and all kind of thing. But they have to normalize it like it's a sex organ. And those who speak up against it, what Obama did then, economic terrorism, people lose their job because of it. So when you talk about oppressive government, yeah man, him start the oppression. Him started because he was selected by them, by the George Soros and all these people. These people have no morals, ethics, decency, or believe in God. Barack Obama used to go to church, but I believe in a God. Even his wife. I am not a fan of the Obamas, period, because when you go try to impose that kind of European ideology, so I colonize them still try to, white people still behave like them rule the world, So I'll do literally on the plantation, them a slave you mentally. The only race of people in this world that they don't mess with are the Arabs, because the Arabs, they don't want to be rich, They will burn down the world, if you impose your philosophy and your culture on them. But black people, America don't have respect for us and them thing. Donald Trump is only one of all of the presidents them since Barack Obama show black people in their form of respect. In Africa, when we say show them, we talk about say him not tell the black man say boy if you open up your rectum and take it like a girl. Him not tell you that. Him racist, but black people say boy I'm rather for deal with female racism than for deal with what them are dealing with, because Joe Biden went as far as to take away even black legislators' visas in Africa, all because them simple, they stand up for what is right and the truth. Them can't, and yet Joe Biden cancel the African legislators, them lawmakers' visas, but he never cancel Orban. That's the dictator from Europe, from Eastern Europe, who one of the biggest anti-LGBTQ plus president in Europe, and him hide it. Him as Vladimir Putin, and Joe Biden allow him to come and go to CPAC conference. So you see the difference. So when you come on to black people, them not respect for black people. Black people not supposed to have the talk. You're not supposed to can express yourself and deal with the truth. And that's I think with the Democrats. That's why they lose the election, and that's why we get Donald Trump. So whether or not you want to believe it, Obama was never a black president. He don't respect black people. Everything him push it down upon. He never do anything for black people. Them have the Senate and them they have the House. And whether or not you want to believe it, if Obama never did come in with this agenda where we try social engineering, the Democrats would be still in power, because they were close to having 60 seats in our Senate when Obama was president, and from him start this thing, everything start go down for the Democrats. Even Florida, that used to have at least one Democratic senator, Obama and this LGBT and this agenda we have the social engineer cause them to lose, and them clean them out of the South because of this. So whether or not them want to believe it, if them continue on this trajectory of this imposing what they believe, them are God, because the people them behind this thing, people if he said them brighter everybody and them are God. Because they might tell you say God don't exist, they might tell you about how human being. Because I don't know how something for come from nothing. So let's go back to a case that the most media outlet, them now gonna tell you about Obama now. This wasn't about policy disagreements. This was punishment for not bending the knee to the new orthodoxy. And Obama, the so-called symbol of inclusion and diversity, let it happen. That is economic terrorism, using the full force of the federal, state and social pressure to silence and destroy those who dare to disagree. So this black guy now, him call him irritated genie on YouTube. And him, Obama even get him for ban him in a most high country them in the world. A man born in America and a black man, you know. Because all the man he's telling black men, say boy, don't. That kind of lifestyle is unnatural and there's nothing normal about it. And I'm tell them, say, white people behave. This is something in Africa. You understand? And I don't know what happened to him now. He irritated genie and he used to say the war is on the horizon. He's a man that believe it. And him say straight pride or something like that. But he didn't stop Obama there. Under Obama administration, the United States flew rainbow flags over American embassies worldwide. Not as a gesture of tolerance, but as a political ultimatum to foreign nations. Adopt our values or lose our aid. African nations rooted in deeply held cultural and religious beliefs were threatened and bullied by his administration that claimed to value freedom. Where was their freedom to say, no thank you? None. And when Russia refused to bow to Obama, escalated the pressure, not with diplomacy, but with many who would call provocation, sending Billie Jean King to march on Russian soil as a gay rights envoy wasn't diplomacy. It was a deliberate antagonism. We must ask the uncomfortable question. Was this push a factor in Russia's decision to become more militarized, more aggressive? Yes, it is. The war in Ukraine didn't start in a vacuum. It started after years of Western pressure, arrogance, and cultural imperialism. Barack Obama didn't just preach change. He enforced it with economic punishment, policy coercion, and global pressure tactics, often at the expense of faith-based communities and sovereign nations. Churches and religious organizations were penalized. People were forced to choose between their livelihoods and their beliefs. What happened to freedom of religion? Apparently, it's only valid if your religion agree with Obama's ideology. The truth is, Obama opened a can of worms and now it's devouring American society. Where disagreement is no longer allowed, where morality is rewritten in executive orders, and where identity, politics trumps objective truth. So let's ask the real question. When will America finally have a government that tells the truth, protects liberty, and respects people's beliefs without threats, punishment, or propaganda? America doesn't just need a new president. It needs a moral reset. I just so you understand. But most people don't understand, what is happening in America, why America is like this right now. And people are going to blame Donald Trump. You cannot blame Donald Trump. It's Barack Obama started it. Barack Obama exposes the hypocrisy, the silent cowardice of America's so-called journalists. Listen to former President Barack Obama speak with clarity and precision about the blatant double standard in American media. It was both eye-opening and deeply affirming. He boldly pointed out that the reality had he never revoked or threatened the credentials of a major media outlet like Fox News, there would have been non-stop outrage, wall-to-wall coverage, and calls for impeachment from every so-called journalist on cable news. But when Donald Trump did it, when he attacked the First Amendment, banned CNN reporters from the White House, and weaponized the Justice Department against the press, there was a deafening silence from the very people who claim to defend democracy and truth. Let's be real, these people aren't journalists. They are paid puppets, enemies of truth and traitors to the poor and working class white Americans, who still unbelievably trust them. Every day they feed these vulnerable audience lies, disinformation, and half-baked conspiracy theories, all while pretending to be the voice of the people. But they are not. They are mercenaries for the elites, cloaked in microphone and studio lights. Just look at facts. Look at the facts. Fox News was ordered to pay nearly $800 million. Yes, $800 million to Dominion voting system for spreading lies and propaganda about the 2020 presidential election. That wasn't opinion. That was proven deception in a court of law. And yet the same people who were lied to, hard-working, salt of the earth, white American, are still guzzling the same poisonous Kool-Aid, still shouting about election fraud, still cheering on the very media machine that misled them. If that's not the epitome of brainwashed ignorance, low IQ thinking and mass delusion, then what it is? Meanwhile, black Americans have weathered worse storms than Trump. Centuries of slavery, lynching, segregation, Jim Crow laws, mass incarceration, redlining, and systemic racism. Yet, we endure. We fight. We rebuild. Trump is just another storm, another distraction, and he too shall pass and gone. And here is where it gets even more ironic. Latinos and Hispanic communities, many of whom will run towards Trump in 2024, thinking they would be embraced as honorary whites, are now waking up. They are realizing that in the eyes of the white supremacist system, Trump empowers, they are not white. They are only close to white when politically convenient. When it comes time for deportation, crackdowns, and race-based exclusion, they too are labeled other. The truth is, white supremacy sees no allies outside of itself, only tools, and when those tools have served their purpose, they are discarded. America will get better after Trump, not because of him, but in spite of him, and the future won't belong to those who cling to lies, conspiracy, and bitterness. America, it's time for America to be an honest and truthful country. You can't tell people say a man can't be a woman. I'm talking about trans woman and all them madness. Them things they make Christian cuss. The future belongs to those who can see through the fog, who are ready to reject propaganda and build a nation rooted in truth, equity, and justice. So, to those who still fooled, wake up. The truth is not your enemy. The real enemy is the one profiting of your ignorance while calling it patriotism. Have yourself a beautiful day.